It is the day after Arsenal's emphatic victory over Manchester United in the Emirates Stadium just out here. 2-0 yesterday. I have a pretentious sized coffee. Let's have a rundown of how it went yesterday and what it could mean for the rest of the season. Well, here we are. I apologise for the lighting. I've recorded this slightly too late in the day. And although I am right outside the Emirates Stadium and don't have to travel far for match days, Amazon getting the rights to this and making it 8:15 in the evening just blows my mind. This is box office as a fixture in the Premier League. It used to be a Super Sunday classic, but somehow Arsenal against Man United may be a sign of what's happened in recent years. It was a midweek game, but my word, didn't they entertain? The build-up to this game was actually more about Man United than Arsenal, with Ruben Amorim having taken over. It was all about whether he'd get his selection right, whether the team that beat Everton 4-0 could turn up at the Emirates and do something special, or whether Arteta could keep this little run going. And what turned out was a very odd selection by Amorim and the perfect selection by Mikel. In truth, Arsenal actually found this a pretty easy fixture, and I think that was in part to the team that Man United put out. So players who'd delivered well previously for Amorim, so Joshua Zirkzee, Marcus Rashford and Amad Diallo, were all rested, which was music to my ears, if I'm honest. And in came Mason Mount, who's been incredibly underwhelming in his Man United career. Alejandro Garnacho, who doesn't seem to have clicked yet, but clearly has potential. And of course, young Rasmus Højlund up front. Part of me thinks, game by game, Højlund is not developing as I'd like him to. But what it meant is Arsenal were never really troubled by those front three. They didn't particularly stretch the game or push it back. And Arteta managed to get away without having a left-back in Calafiori, who was injured, and Gabriel, who was injured. And I was a little bit worried in advance of this game, thinking they might pick Rashford or Diallo, who I thought would have stretched the defence a little bit better, with Kivior and Zinchenko possibly being out of position. But Arsenal had a really comfortable game at the back of the pitch. I don't think Man United had a single shot on target, or maybe the De Ligt header, was from a fantastic Raya save. But on the whole, Man United set out their stall almost looking for the draw. There really wasn't too much to it. And I'm not baiting you, Man United fans, but quite honestly, it was one of the least ambitious Man United teams I've seen come to the Emirates in recent years. Very quickly, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Give it a thumbs up and a like. It does so much for the algorithm to get people from all over the world just getting to tune into this. The idea is we grow the channel a little bit. I'd love to have some live drone footage from right outside the stadium, even though I don't think you're meant to. Ignore that if you work at Arsenal. I'd love to do some interviews with fans before games and after games, but all this kind of stuff needs a bit of momentum, so please be a hero, give it a like, give it a subscribe, give me your view on any of the videos, including this one, how you saw Arsenal Man United going down, and we can grow together. Arsenal, on the other side of the fence, had to choose who their midfield three would be. So in this game, Mikel Merino and Jorginho weren't in the side. Trossard wasn't there either, not that he always plays in those middle three. But he opted for having Thomas Partey, who in truth I thought was a little bit sloppy yesterday until his glorious assist for Saliba's bottom to make it 2-0. But also having Ødegaard one side, what a player he is, obviously we know about that. And Declan Rice, who's had a pretty reduced season so far. He's been quite quiet, but he's been beaverishly working kind of off the ball, and as with build-up play, he distributes it quite quickly. But he didn't get the superstar status, even though his corners were on point like Saka's were. So what of those corners? Everyone's calling us the new Stoke City. We are Corners FC. And in truth, there's a bit more to it than I think people are giving it credit for. So yes, we've scored 22 goals from corners since, I don't know, 23, 24, I think it is, which is way ahead of anyone near to us, both in the top 5 European leagues, but also the Premier League. But it's the amount of corners we get in a game. So I think we had 11 corners yesterday, and people forget about that fact. We're not doing this from throw-ins or trying to fake penalties or get weird free kicks. This is a deliberate ploy to take a shot early from Martinelli and Saka, knowing that if it goes on target, it's a goal. And if it doesn't go on target, you're pretty much getting a corner every time. And that dominance in the final third from Arsenal is something that goes a little bit under the radar. It's not just about Gabriel's head, it's about having those corners in the first place. What was amazing for Arsenal was how quick we glided from defence through to attack. And actually, United's setup of having 5 at the back with Malacia, ridiculous that he played in all honesty to try and keep Saka quiet, and Diogo Dalot on the other side with a kind of midfield 2 of Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte. I don't think any of those 4 really got to grips with the pace of the Arsenal attack, and it was very simple for Rice and Ødegaard to just pass straight through that midfield without really being challenged. There were a lot of niggly fouls in the first half where I thought Arsenal were dramatically on top but couldn't put the ball in the net. and the referee wasn't giving out cards. And it wasn't until the end of that half you had Ugarte getting one for a bit of chat back, and I think you got Malacia getting one for just a late challenge. Nothing malicious about it, just poorly timed and deliberately there to, or not poorly timed by him, but deliberately to break up those Arsenal through balls coming through. The weakness that Man United had in the middle of the park, though, was very different to what they had at the back with their defensive structure. And they set up very deep, very defensive, a lot of ball time for Harry Maguire, a lot of ball time for De Ligt. But they didn't really want to do anything with it. And actually, this was summed up, I think, by Onana as a goalkeeper. Every goal kick, he would take the maximum amount of time before the referee would get annoyed, the crowd were booing. And what he'd do is he'd pass sideways to Maguire. I have no idea why, because United haven't set up as a team who will gain space or get someone out of position, which is largely why you play out from the back. It was kind of like Onana would sit on the ball, would p-roll it to Maguire, who'd just hoof it to nobody. And in fact, that was epitomised completely every time Onana caught a cross. He kind of ran to the front of his box as though he was going to throw out for a counter-attack. And you could see the forward players really wanting it. And he'd just sit there and wait, let everyone get up the pitch, wind the clock down a little bit. He'd roll it out straight to Maguire, he'd hoof it straight to us. It was just beautiful to see. And if I'm being honest, again, this isn't to bait Man United fans, this is just how I see it as a fan in the stadium, but that's the kind of play you'd expect from a relegation side or someone near the bottom who largely was trying to frustrate us, wind down the clock and hope to maybe nick a goal late on. And I think where that came unstuck was Arsenal's phenomenal corners. Even without the giant Swede of a head of Gabriel, we have a natural-born person who can do that, right? Saliba came in to take over from him. He's another absolute man-mountain of a player. One sec. And it seemed that we knew exactly what we were doing. Players at the back post, running forward. Jurrien Timber is superb at using his body when getting up. When he got that first goal, it was awesome. And the best thing about that goal, which no one will talk about, is at the end of the game, Peter, who does our stadium announcements and music, put on Kesha and Pitbull's Timber. What a tune. And certainly the tune for him. But Jurrien Timber looked great. He got up early, he got his head in. We nearly got another goal straight away with Xerxes scoring an own goal, but it was just off the line, I think, by Ugarte. And then later on, Partey got a free header, missed it, put it to Saliba, who just hit it in kind of with his side or his bottom, which was great. But it doesn't suggest the game was as close as it was just because it was corner goals. We could have had way more opportunities. United set up deep, Arsenal exploited that. We got so many corners because of that, and we know we're a threat from corners, so why wouldn't you do that? The alternative would be, had United not been so deep, we just pepper the goal with shots. And that would have been a different outcome, right? 2-0, but through open play goals. When United, or a team like United, set up to just stop a shot coming in and don't care about giving away the corner, you got to punish it, I guess. Something that was superb, being in the stadium whenever a player is subbed off, quite obviously people will say who or jeer or whatever. But when Anthony came on after being 2-0 down at 79th minute, Amorim turns to him and says, do you know what I need? I need a performing seal. As he came on, quite honestly, 60,000 people just started laughing. The entirety of the Arsenal stadium, they're applauding, they're clapping. And I don't think I've ever seen that for a player where they've just been a laughing stock. It's not about being mean or having a grudge. It's genuinely hilarious that United still have Anthony. They spent 95 million euros on him and he's pants, absolutely pants. So more of that, please. Who knows where he'll end up? If ever you wanted to feel better about Arsenal having signed Pepe and it not quite working out, well, Anthony is the perfect antidote for that. So thank you for that, Amorim. Thank you for that, Anthony. More game time. I'd love to see it happen. So we'll keep this video not too long. Let's talk about the title run-in. Liverpool dropped points yesterday, quite a big thing. I thought they were super lucky, actually, to get 3 goals against Newcastle. Newcastle probably should have had some penalties. At the end of the game, were they on the attack? Who knows? Anyway, Liverpool dropped 2 points, meaning it's 7 points between the league leaders and then Chelsea and Arsenal. And actually, earlier in the week on my TikToks, I had made a bit of a boo-boo with Chelsea fans. I called them a South London club. They were not happy about that. But a lot of Chelsea fans have been in my ear telling me that their goal difference is fantastic and they're second in the league. And actually, kudos to them. I think Chelsea are on the up. But I think Arsenal are too. And what I'm excited about is over this Christmas period, if Liverpool could drop another 3 points maybe, 2, 3, 4 points, I think we'll have a really exciting title run-in. Amazing by Liverpool, not to take anything away from them at all, and I do think they'll go very deep into this competition with a likelihood of winning. But I think we all want a bit of a closer title race in general. Even if Man City can come along with us, who knows? It'd be great to have those teams all kind of locked together and head to head, and each week meaning something. But for now, Arsenal have back-to-back wins, and we need to go on a little run. So we now have 4 fixtures before Christmas, and I personally think they're all winnable. It's not just blowing our own trumpets. I think Arsenal should be getting 12 points from these games. So you've got Fulham away at the weekend. I'd expect us to go there and get a result. Everton at home, I think we're very solid at home, and I think Everton aren't good at travelling. We've got Crystal Palace away in a team that aren't in that much form, so hopefully that works out well for us. And then Ipswich Town at home on Boxing Day. I'm fully expecting to enjoy my Christmas leftovers, head to the stadium, probably half cut, and enjoying it with my family. And really enjoy a big win, I guess, just before the Christmas break, the New Year's break. But if Arsenal can get 12 more points and Liverpool only get maybe 9, 10, 8, something like that, we can start getting excited. But I'd love to hear from you. Who do you think's winning the league? If you're a Liverpool fan watching this, you must be feeling great right now. But can you do it? What do you need to see get over the line this side of New Year? Last thing I want to say is throughout the Advent period in Christmas, December, I'm doing a thing called Advent running, which is where I run for 30 minutes every day in Advent up until Christmas Eve, to keep myself in good shape and enjoy the kind of winter period as it gets a bit colder. And yesterday I had a super busy day at work. I then had to deal with the kids. I went into the stadium, and by the end of it, the game finished up at about 10:30 or something ridiculous like that. I had to go out and do my half an hour run. So I ended up coming home, getting into some running gear, heading straight out and just running laps of the stadium. And there's something fantastic about seeing half-cut Arsenal fans pouring out the stadium, a lot of them from the posh corporate seats where they clearly had a lot of free alcohol, and cheering me on, "Come on, you Gunners!" And seeing happy faces, people waiting for the players to get their autographs and see them come out in their cars. I think AFTV and the like filming things. Superb fun, and I love it. So I'd highly recommend, if you live near your local team stadium, have a little run round it afterwards, and that should be good. I shall carry on enjoying the fixtures that come. I think the next home game is Monaco in the Champions League. But for now, wherever you're enjoying the football in advance of this weekend, be good humans, do good things. Peace.